You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.
Hello, you weirdos. Jim here, and welcome back to the most anticipated books of this coming up week, the preview show that we do every Sunday night. As I always say, this is the start for me of that new week of comics, kind of gathering up some things, maybe getting my schedule down, seeing what I'm going to review and whatnot, maybe even what I'm going to avoid. But this is more anticipated things. And before I go into this, and we have a lot more books this week than I think last week. There are a bunch, and I can't put everything on here. There are some things that kind of, didn't quite make it, but that's why I'm going to ask everybody to let me know what you guys are all anticipating, what you are hoping is good. And with all that, too, I say this every time, but sometimes these aren't books that I think are going to be great. I don't know. Some are a lot of number ones, a lot of things that even maybe I haven't been enjoying, but I hope that they pick up, things like that. But we're going to start, as we do, with DC Comics. Here is a new number one, Suicide Squad Dream Team number one. Written by Nicole Maines, art by Eddie Barros, obviously DC Comics, and it is $3.99. Here is the solicit. When Amanda Waller makes her move to seize ultimate power in the DCU. Oh my God, maybe absolute power? Could that be? Why wouldn't they say absolute power in that, since it's heading towards that event? But hey, nothing will stand in her way. Not even the future. Oh, did they mean the rapper? Spinning out of the events of Titan's Beast world comes the story of Dreamer, the precog Dreamwalker, who has run afoul of the most power-hungry villain in DCU history. That's pushing it. What a superpower hero who can see in the future on her side is Waller's Suicide Squad finally unstoppable. Join Harley Quinn, Bizarro. It's a clone Bizarro, by the way. Clock King, Black Alice, and Deadeye. Character I don't really like, for the fight for DC's future and the next big step towards the cataclysmic event of 2024. What I really want is Nicole Maines, who has been writing Dreamer, who played Dreamer, needs to nail down a power set a little more than what they've been doing. I kind of end up where it seems like every time Dreamer shows up, Dreamer does what Dreamer does and then just disappears. So I hope that there's more of that. I am looking forward to, see what this is all about. I always like having a Suicide Squad book, though, when they do actually come out. Never really my favorite. Not a huge Suicide Squad guy, but I always get excited beforehand. This team doesn't really get me that excited. I have to admit it, but I am looking forward to see what Nicole Maines can do with that. I like Eddie Barros' art, so we're going to keep moving on. We got to keep moving on because we have a lot of books. And this here anticipated for next week's show. The next one is something that I think most people will agree that they'll be looking forward to. Green Lantern number 9, written by Jeremy Adams, back up by Sam Humphries, who I kind of think is a hack, but that's fine. It's a Jessica Cruz book, and he actually did some okay stuff with Jessica Cruz back in the Rebirth Green Lanterns book, plural, that he ended up doing. So maybe he can get some lightning in a bottle. We haven't had him around in a while, which has kind of made me happy because I'm not a big fan, but we'll see. Art by Zermanico and Yasmin Flores Montanez. And again, I love Jessica Cruz. We'll see. And it is $4.99 because of that backup. Very quick solicit, doesn't even mention the trial of Jessica Cruz. That is the backup, but it says, unable to leave the atmosphere, the Green Lantern looks for help from a mystical source, which leads him to a mysterious gateway and surprising answers to the origin of Hal's Ring. I kind of got the idea that they're going to do Starheart, Living Flame, which would be very odd. I don't want them to mix and match some things like that. We'll see what it is. I'm just kind of guessing. And again, Jessica Cruz, I do like. Hopefully this will be good. I trust Jeremy Adams, though. I really do like Jeremy Adams, and we need to get Hal off Earth for a bit. He needs to take it to that United Planets, see what's up. Right? See what's up going on out there. So hopefully we'll get there. I do want to tell you that somebody who tweeted me, friend of the shows, he has actually already read it, said it was great. He's the lucky one. He gets to read it early. Actually had a physical copy too, which was crazy, and said it is really, really good. So I'm looking forward to that. We'll go to the next book, which is Action Comics number 1063. It is the finale of the I, Bizarro story by Jason Aaron. I've been enjoying it. If you don't remember, at the end of last issue, cliffhanger did end up having Superman going and maybe teaming up with the Joker, which kind of points to that in the solicit. It's $4.99. The startling finale of I, Bizarro sees the Man of Steel making his most shocking team-up ever. It's the Joker as part of the mind-blowing final battle against the ultimate Bizarro. So I've been enjoying the stuff that Jason Aaron's doing at DC. So I am looking forward to that already. If even a couple of these hit at DC, would be so much better a week than we had last week. And I think that a couple of these will hit because I still have one more DC book. And if you are like me, this is all about Flatline. Batman and Robin #7, written by Joshua Williamson, art by Simone DeMeo, and it is $4.99. Batman and Robin are on the hunt for Man-Bat and Shush. Shush, like, really? But their search is interrupted by the return of Flatline. And first off, I don't mind anytime you interrupt the search for Shush. Please. But you interrupt it with the return of Flatline, then that's even better. Damien's crushed from the Lazarus Tournament. But what has followed her to Gotham? I would guess death and mayhem. Right? Maybe Lord Deathman himself. It was kind of a goofy play. And I'd like to see Joshua Williamson write a little more Lord Deathman. And hopefully it would be, back in the day, Grant Morrison or even Bat Manga, where he ended up being from, the idea of just goofiness. Because I think he is pretty funny when you write him that way. But I'm really looking forward to seeing Flatline again. I thought that Flatline and Damien, I want to see what Bruce/Batman thinks of Flatline, because remember, I think it was last issue where you ended up having Bruce reading some of that Damien manga, and there's a girl, and who's the girl? Who is that? He's going to realize it's Flatline. I don't know that Bruce is going to see Flatline as like, okay, I'm down with her. I think he's open-minded, obviously, he's Batman, but I think it'd be a shock right away of, that's the kind of girl that Damien likes. All right, well, we'll go with it. But I love Flatline, so that will be pretty cool. But that's it at DC. Again, that's way more books. I think that's more books I'm anticipating than they actually had come out last week. And there was some stinkers. And there's still some stinkers. I mean, you're never going to hear me say the idea of most anticipated followed by Speed Force. Like, that's never happening. And it's not happening now. Never. We have that book coming out as well. And maybe as we go down the line, if people would want, like, maybe we will have the idea of, hey, I'll give you the ones that I'm looking forward to, and then really quickly just rattle off the other names just in case people might want to know what's coming out. We could tweak this a little bit. We'll move over to Marvel. There are a bunch of books coming out from Marvel. I said that I didn't want to put every single book on the list. There are a couple other #1s. There's some things I'm looking forward to, but these are the ones that I hope are really good. One being Ultimate Black Panther #2. I'm really enjoying the Ultimate stuff, even the Ultimate X-Men. So sue me. It's fighting words nowadays. If you end up like, you really draw the line in the sand of sides. If you're like, yeah, I think I like that Ultimate X-Men. Oh my God, people have fists up. You're throwing hands, right? Everybody's going at it. But I did like it. But I actually like the Ultimate Spider-Man the most. And Ultimate Black Panther, that first issue, a little too much just like Black Panther, but I mentioned in my review of that, mentioned even in the best of the week when I talked about it, I kind of want to have a good Black Panther book, and we haven't had one in quite some time. So I am glad that it was really good. I was kind of upset that at the end T'Chaka ends up dying, but that ends up being the impetus for Black Panther to say, I got to get out to the outside world. I got to see what's going on. Remember, you actually had Killmonger and Storm out there, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I want to see how this plays out. Shuri seems a little sus, a little bit. So we'll see how it is. But again, it's Ultimate Black Panther #2, written by Brian Edward Hill with Stefano Caselli on art. It's $4.99. Wakanda bangs the drums of war. After Moon Knight's forces attack the stronghold of Wakanda, T'Challa can no longer resist Shuri and Dora Milaje's calls to action. Grieving and enraged, Black Panther demands to know who has been leaking information about Wakanda to their enemy, and the source shocks him to the core. so funny. Like the idea of it in the second issue. We don't really know the full lay of the land. Okay, it's Shuri, or we could get this crazy idea that it was T'Chaka himself and his weird stuff. I don't know. There might be a twist. And a prophecy about T'Challa threatens to upend the war and all of Wakandan life. And again, even from that solicit, this Black Panther, Ultimate Black Panther seems to be the book where, all right, we're just going to tell a Black Panther story. You know, that doesn't really seem like anything about the world at large. I'm sure they'll all tie into things. But again, that's cool. But you have to remember that this is a universe. This is an Earth that was changed by the maker. So you're going to have at least one book have some real I'm talking about the Ultimate X-Men. I'm still trying to convince people of that whole concept of what that book is and why you don't have just a full out, X-Men team. I was actually, for our Patreon today, me and my man Matt were reading through House of M. We have a crisis podcast that we're doing, and we're going through House of M, and it's at the point where you end up having Wolverine realize that things are wrong. He's remembering before the world had changed, all those things. And I keep thinking, are we going to do that with Wolverine? It's a weird play, though, because of this being a different Earth. This isn't a changed Earth. It's a changed, different Earth. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. But you always have that play with Wolverine, which would be cool. And I know that this isn't the podcast. It's not the video or whatever to try to convince people to read a book that came out last week. But maybe we should give it all a try. Give it a try. But the next one is a weird idea. Yeah, it's Ghost Rider. I was going to say it's a Ghost Rider. It's Ghost Rider. Benjamin Percy's Ghost Rider book came out, and people seemed to really dig it at first and tried to convince me after I said, we're kind of just doing these one-shot type deals, going down the road, pulling into town, seeing what wackiness happens. And people like that. Oh, I really, until they didn't. Because that sort of thing gets boring after a while. In my mind, it's pretty much monster/supernatural trouble of the month. And I kind of need a bigger story. And when they got to the story of Talia War Road and things like that, people were like, yeah, this isn't that good. So what Marvel did and does and has done, they canceled it. And now they're starting it up again with a new #1 and this thing. And I don't know. I'm wondering. And really, in the background of things when we're doing this stuff. And I said, I think it was last week, when I do this and say, hey, everybody, let me know what you're looking forward to, it is kind of a gauge for me to see, okay, well, maybe I'll review that on the channel, or maybe I'll do that. I'm really wondering, I mean, this Ghost Rider Final Vengeance #1, it seems like something that could hit, something that people would want reviewed. But then again, it's still just Benjamin Percy. So are they going to get excited about it? Or are they going to lay back and maybe have a review to tell people, hey, you should check it out or whatnot? I don't know. It's weird, but I put it on the list. It is, as I said, Ghost Rider Final Vengeance #1, written by Benjamin Percy, Danny Kim on art. It is $4.99. Maybe make that $3.99 since you're coming back with, kind of a new #1 type deal. But who is the new Spirit of Vengeance? It asks. Johnny Blaze was bonded with the Spirit of Vengeance. Check. It's like they're just telling you, hey, by the way, Johnny Blaze was bonded with that. Okay. Unwilling to be a monster, Johnny used this demon from hell to do good as the Ghost Rider. Check. Okay. I got it. But heroism isn't what the rider was meant for. All right. So who will be the new Spirit of Vengeance? Okay, now we're getting there. Now we're getting to something. We're not just, telling nonsense. And what will it mean for the Marvel? Oh, you're not going to tell us. We have to read the book. I get it. Find out in this extra size first issue by writer Benjamin Percy and hot new art sensation, not artist, art sensation, Danny Kim. Art sensation is a cool cover by Juan Ferreira, by the way. Now, I haven't really looked into this. And so people may laugh, but I seriously hope it's not Talia War Road. That's all I have to say. And I actually thought the character was kind of cool, but not that cool. So you'll have to let me know if it's been announced. It probably has. I don't pay attention to that. Too lazy. I'm too dumb and lazy, and that's no way to go through life, son. That's what they say. We're going to move on now, and that's it for the Marvel side of things. Though, almost put one other new #1. I didn't because it's by Stephanie Phillips, and I'm not fully, I'm kind of not a fan, but I could be. So odd. I keep going, screw it. You know what? Screw it. I'm putting it on the list. Black Widow and Hawkeye #1. It looks like it could be fun. And Stephanie Phillips, not great at DC in my mind, but I did like that Capwolf book just for the fun of it. A guilty pleasure. This could end up being a guilty pleasure. And I like both Black Widow and Hawkeye. Cover looks pretty cool. Actually, the cover looks a lot like that Freefall book by Matthew Rosenberg. And that was fun until it wasn't, right? It was okay. Here is the solicit. Pretty big solicit for something that I'm saying. Like, I hope it's just kind of fun. The eyes of a hawk and the venom of a widow. Oh, I forgot that venom nonsense. And now I see on the cover. Oh, God. Can I take this off the list now? I don't need that. Even when Black Widow and Hawkeye had no one to trust, they still had each other, even though their paths sometimes diverged. So when Clint Barton is accused of a rogue assassination attempt that puts the U.S. and March Report at odds, a symbiote-equipped Natasha Romanoff. Anybody like that? Is anybody like down at the rec center going like, man, I really like Black Widow more that she's got that venom symbiote, right? And then everybody's like punching the guy and throwing him in the pool. Weird thing, there's not even a pool at the rec center. It's just there. I don't like it. I don't like it. Thinks nothing of coming to his aid. That is the venom symbiote, or the symbiote-equipped Natasha Romanoff thinks nothing of coming to his aid. But as echoes of their past ripple into the present, it'll take all their faith in each other and the lessons learned along the way, because really, isn't that the true meaning of life? The lessons we learn along the way to protect their futures. Join fan favorite creator Stephanie Phillips. Fan favorite, huh? Rogue and Gambit, Capwolf, and the Howling Commandos. I thought that Capwolf and the Howling Commandos, a lot of it was the Carlos Magno, I think, was on art. It was a lot of the art that was kind of fun, but it was kind of a fun deal. And Paolo Villanelli, Captain Marvel, Dark Tempest, Star Wars Bounty Hunters. Yeah, I'm not going to go out on a limb and say either of these are real fan favorites. It's funny. It's like, join these two creators who have a couple fans and they really like them. Stephanie Phillips and Paolo Villanelli. I think Paolo Villanelli, when we ended up talking about the Star Wars Bounty Hunters, we had a Star Wars comics podcast. I think I always messed up the name. I messed up all the names. As they celebrate 60 years of Black Widow and Hawkeye with this new chapter in the pair's storied legacy. And in is both, I-N is capitalized. Hawkeye with this new chapter in the pair's storied legacy. It's like it's telling me some sort of like riddle. It's like a Kree, or it might have just activated some sleeper agents or something. Why is in both letters capitalized? That is really odd. So because they don't want to say, as they celebrate 60 years of Black Widow and Hawkeye with this new chapter out, the pairs. No, that doesn't work. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Why did I add this in? Oh my God, it's $4.99. By the way, has some cool covers, though. I'll give them that. Actually, I think the variant covers are really, really neat. There's one of just like classic Hawkeye. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Indeed. I got to get back to my list now because I went off the deal there. All right. So there's Marvel. In, it had I-N, both capitalized. I just don't get it. Somebody's got to tell me what that means. I don't think anybody will. Here's next. There's the indie stuff. I have 3 indie books. There were a couple others that, yeah, pretty cool. But some of them where I even recognize them, like, ooh, people are going to like that, or people are going to. I haven't been reading them, but if enough people talk about some stuff, I will catch up. And mustard, as they say. You know, they don't say it. Indie books, Napalm Lullaby #1. It's an image book written by Rick Remender and art by Bengal, who actually gave me a lot of crap last week. And I think I just put this here to show how good a guy I am. Bengal was giving me all sorts of crap. And I told Bengal, you back off, Bengal. I don't even know if that's your name. Bengal. Please. What are you? And they actually, Bengal backed off. It was pretty funny because Michael Yanine who I really like, ended up giving me some crap too. So I had to fight them both. I was double pumping there. And I got them both. Series premiere, it says. The best-selling creative duo of Rick Remender and Bengal re-team for Napalm Lullaby. An all-new, ongoing dystopian epic with a special double-length first issue. A child with unimaginable power is raised to believe he is God by a cult of zealots utterly confident in the moral authority of their religion. I don't know what this is saying. The magnificent leader has imposed his will on humanity and created the ultimate theocracy. Join them or be cast out to suffer with the masses. I have to admit, I did not read the solicit beforehand. I just saw Rick Remender and Bengal. This looks cool. The cover looks cool. That doesn't sound very good to me. And solicits, keep it here. I don't know. It seems a little wacky to me. It seems a little bit over my head. I'm not a tall guy, but still, I like to have fun. Jimmy and the girls like to have fun, is what they say. And that doesn't seem like a lot of fun. See, that's a lot of times where I get where people said, oh, man, I love the indie stuff more. Sometimes the indie stuff gets real, I don't mind wacky, but it gets too, philosophical and it gets too fancy. That's fancy pants book there, Rick Remender. Keep your fancy stuff to yourself. People will be like, oh, no, it's, really good. We'll see. I'll read it. I don't think I'm going to review that on the channel, though. Seems like a lot of work. Thundercats #2. That's some fun, right? I said we did the review. Me and my man Zach did a review on the channel, and the first issue was okay. It was okay. It's kind of basic. I don't know a ton about the Thundercats. I'm not a huge Thundercats fan, but even I could tell, okay, they changed that a little. They tweaked that a bit. It sold a ton, but also I believe I did count, and I think it had 2,352 variant covers is what I counted. And even with this #2, I looked and they're they really pointed out, I didn't even put it in the part of the solicit. They go on and on about and variant covers and it looks like a phone book. And it's still less than the last bit, but it looks like it has I think the last count of that was 972 variant covers. It is by Declan Shalvey, Zach's favorite, guy there, if you know Zach, right? You know what I'm saying? Drew Moss on art. And it's $4.99, comes out from Dynamite Entertainment. I think that most people that read the first issue will jump into this one. We'll see if we review it. In the aftermath of his first battle with the mutants, Lion-O attempts to use the sight beyond sight to ask for guidance from their long-lost leader, Jaga. The vision he receives instead leads the Thundercats to discover another Thunderian survivor on Third Earth. Meanwhile, Slythe and his mutant band, I hope it's like a punk band, have discovered the Pyramid of Mum-Ra, and they're about to learn firsthand how dangerous the ever-living one can be. You know what I'm saying? It's funny, if you don't know that much about Thundercats, I feel like at one point when you ended up having Sir Alec Guinness, and he's reading through the Star Wars script, and he's like, I don't know what the hell this is, but I need a paycheck. So I'll say these nonsense words. Just tell me where I'm supposed to talk and where I'm supposed to look at. That's how I felt right there. I'm Sir Alec Guinness Jimmy here reading the Thundercats. But I'm looking forward to that. I hope it gets a little more, things going, right? I don't know. A lot of variant covers. Did I mention that? And then we have one last book. I think that if you're playing at home, you know what this would be. It's the book that everybody's talking about, everybody wants. I have actually already read it. It's a book that I can tell you kicks complete butt. So there you go. There's my review. Transformers #6. It's really good. Written with art by Daniel Warren Johnson. This is the last bit of art that he's doing on it. I believe Image Comics, obviously $3.99. End of arc, it says all in capitals. One will stand, one will fall. The Autobots versus the Decepticons. This is it, and someone isn't going to survive. Not going to spoil anything. It's really, really good, but that's not even... I'm not blowing people's minds. It's an awesome book. The Energon stuff is the best stuff going in comics right now, especially as a full line. Just this past week, they announced that they're going to have miniseries Scarlet by Kelly Thompson. A lot of people are like, I don't like that Kelly Thompson, whatnot, but these books have been really good, and I'm not a big Joshua Williamson fan, and boy, that Duke is one of my favorite books out now. And I like Cobra Commander. It's just not quite the Cobra Law stuff kind of goes a little past my deal, but I'm liking it. And then you also have Dan Waters on a Destro book. And a lot of people say, hey, I'm going to go with that. Poor Kelly Thompson gets kicked to the curb. She does. But I think that in this, I think that first off, I think Robert Kirkman is getting some writers who are excited about the properties, that know them, want to write. I don't think he's just grabbing random people and throwing it in. And I hope that, they're giving them some guidance as well. So I think that one of the things, and somebody did say to me that it will be cool, and I forget who, I apologize, but said in the comments when I had that news item about those books, that this would show, Kelly Thompson, maybe it is a lack of strong editorial at both Marvel and DC. Maybe we'll see her kicking it live, in charge, all of that, jump. We can have the Scarlet book be pretty cool and just keep on going. But yeah, we'll see. But boy, the Transformers, if you have been reading them, you're going to get it anyway. But if you haven't read the Transformers and even are slightly interested, I'm telling you, just go and get all of them, including this number 6. It's the whole arc, and read it. I think you'll fall in love with it. And I could kind of guess that maybe around Saturday night, we'll be talking, me and Gray, if he'll join me again, on our best of the week. And I do believe that Transformers number 6 will be on that. I can kind of guarantee that already. But that's it. A lot of books, a lot more things that I'm telling you, I was like, man, I might put this on because it's kind of interesting. I tried to get the big ones here, get people fired up. It feels like there's this weird lull the last 2 weeks, especially, of the comics coming out. They haven't been great. Not a ton of stuff to grab onto. And it kind of, gets me a little down. So I hope that this week kind of gets the spark going, especially for me, myself, and my 3 least favorite people, so that I can end up like, yeah, I love coming on and liking things. I hate when I sit there and I'm like, I reviewed, especially on the YouTube channel, because I'm kind of new to the YouTube stuff. And I'm like, I reviewed 6 books and I hated every one of them. I don't want to get people thinking like, this guy just hates everything. I mean, I don't like a lot of things, but I do like other things as well. Kind of mix and match, right? But I like things that are good. Not going to pretend they're good, but I'm not going to pretend they're bad either. No faking the funk. That's the big deal. So let me know in the comments what you guys are all looking forward to reading, what you think might be cool, especially if it's stuff that I might have missed or haven't mentioned, because that, again, it gives other people the chance to, oh, that's coming out, or, oh, man, that's cool. That's what this is all about, to get people fired up for this week's comics. It looks like we might have a better week. So I'm excited. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you all later.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.